Watch cartoons under a microscope. Detain no one on grounds of superstition. Study like an ophthalmologist who specializes in identifying everything that makes eyes play tricks. Develop a sixth sense for detecting what goes bump in the night. Own a precise seismograph to measure everything anyone calls groundbreaking. Aspire to be a cartographer of rabbit trails, enlightened in every aspect of what makes people go on tangents. Keep your balance. Read fine print like large print and large print like fine print. Become a walking encyclopedia concerning everything that makes the sky fall. Acquire second sight in case you lose your original sight. Write all things science fiction. All science fiction seems to manifest itself into reality eventually, thereby making science fiction authors the masters of saying, I told you so. Close any and all eyes in the back of your head. Accurately guess what's in the crystal ball of any fortune teller sitting across from you. Expertly seek good produce at grocery stores. And discover that you don't have to be superhuman to be humane. Thank you. Let's see, do we want to do the first image? This was a nice piece that my friend Greg Bliss did, and it directly corresponds to the next poem. And I'm going to follow with a poem that is in the same kind of feel, same vein, completely accidental. So this is called Flame Tickle Tackle. Please let my flame tickle your flame in the inky dark, in our inky dark, in our ink. Let the dark shroud envelop us. Let it sink in, slowly feeding our dancing blue flame. This is called Velvet. I hugged you in your black velvet dress with the many folds and stays. And as you enveloped me with them, I could have sworn I had fallen into a black hole of velvet folds and stays, wrinkles upon wrinkles of soft, quiet velvet. I like trees. I believe the term is pneumophilus, something like that. And people who like forests and trees, and so there's a great deal of mentioning of trees in this book. And so I'm going to start with this haiku. This haiku was written in response to Shel Silverstein's book, The Giving Tree. I have a few bones to pick with that book, the relationship lessons that it taught me. So this is called Don't Plant Giving Trees. Giving trees attract human beings and hate like parasitic weeds. This next poem is, it's an ode to a lot of things, especially behind the scenes people. It's amazing. I just turned 40. Well, I turned 40. I turned 40 this year. And the things that you just find out that go behind life, the layers that you can dig up, there's so much stuff that people don't know that goes on that contributes to society, that contributes to, society. So This is called The Sound of Conductors. You can't see a conductor of an orchestra if you're only listening to the music the orchestra is playing. Is it so odd to suggest that some people haven't been told about the existence of conductors? No, it's not. Their perspectives on the music are worth hearing, but conductors exist, and the orchestra needs one. In addition to Renee Nicolda passing, I also had another poet loss, Bob Vandermolen, who I knew since 2011 and reviewed my books. So I'm going to read one that he really liked, and this is for Bob. This is called Vertical. I'm running through a hall, bathed down the middle with a brilliant white light. As I run past, every door to the left and the right slams. When I reach the tip from which the great light shines, every door will reopen once more. And knowing all that matters is which side I'm on. The way that ended originally was I was going to end the poem, and all that matters is knowing which side I'm on. And I just rearranged it, alchemized my feeling and my perspective that I had gained in the process of writing and living. Let's see. Can we switch to the next image? This is done by a friend of mine. This poem kind of correlates with the last poem and with this image. This is called White Night. In a birdhouse of his own liking, vampire bats sucked the blood out of the canaries, dressed up in yellow feathers, but made a mistake only flying around at night. All we had to do was seize the moon, and out of nowhere came the sun. And, agitated, the bats flew back to their caves. And there we searched, with blinding white lights, which they flew to like moths to a bare light. A lot of the words that are used in these poems come back up over and over again. So the themes of trees are going to be prevalent in the next poem that I read, along with, I talked about in vertical, bathe down the middle. I use that word bath again. So here we go. This is called Mistake. The tears will melt the rust away that accumulated when I got lost without an umbrella or a poncho or a good waterproof seal even in the emerald and misty forest. The forest was in the backyard of my third childhood home, and I kept finding toy soldiers or comic books and miniature race cars which inspired fog chase. And the sun just wouldn't go down, and the borders of the woods just kept expanding until finally I found all the glow-in-the-dark Band-Aid. And then the sun had a reason to set. It was then I cried, small, alone, with a bunch of toys, but no playmates. When poison ivy got boring, you flew over and licked my cheek with your little bird's tongue. And I swear I've never seen a bird I could hold in the palm of my hand shed so many tears, enough to fill my pail with a discarded shovel to take a bath with. It was your song that convinced me to stop shoveling into the dead leaves, dirt, worms, the twigs of the forest floor. When the itch and loneliness were so great, I thought I would bury myself and live in the trees by feeding them nutrients that could still benefit someone into the ground. Thank you. So I'm going to piggyback on the last words in the last column, nutrients. This is going to use that, and the nutrients of this poem are I don't know, colorful. Let's say this is called manna. Blue broccoli cannot be more indicative of the soil my diet has sprung from recently. Red grass growing so voracious, everything grows stronger here. The sunflowers drip with nectar. When apples fall and aren't eaten, an apple tree always grows. Orange sap gushes from the maples at times, practically squirting. My landscape is a stark contrast to others, but pumped up with an unparalleled trust in nutrients. Here in the pit of this grand valley, splitting the mountains, I am happy to enjoy the broken environmental norms effortlessly, save climbing down into this hole and setting up shad. The lily pads in my front yard pond grow purple, and I no longer fight the sucker vines with the same tenacity I used to. Indeed, engorged with rainbow plant blood, I relish the opportunity to have them available to slice open and, as with a hose, spray the fauna with my friends, blasting rabbits with front teeth besides the match balls. So I actually should have asked for the slide to be advanced, just kind of like in the colors that I was kind of show behind that poem. But anyways, let's see here. What is the next slide of that? I think it's the one. Yes, okay, perfect. This is called bipolar possibilities. A lit stick of dynamite drops to a placid lake. Will the dynamite glow before it reaches the surface of the water, disturbing all serenity in the vicinity? Or will the lake snuff out the wake with a quick and swallow the dynamite whole, not much louder than a fish jumping? This is called darkness that says light to you. It rained for eons. It rained so long, people forgot how to make fire altogether. It was so wet, people forgot what warmth was, what dry could be, the atmospheric conditions necessary for a slow burner. Thoughts of light slowly waned from the world. All lightning was extinguished. People heard stories of fire, but there are some things even the best stories can't accurately convey. And if you've never seen it before, fire is definitely one of them. The moon went on pulling the tides, but people forgot it too. So forever did clouds hang in the air. The sun was not understood, only grace. Never since has water been so taken for granted. Thank you. This book is dedicated to my 5-year-old niece and nephew. They are twins. They're a couple of monkey-minded individuals like nobody else. And so the first poem starts off very much as a poem that I thought that they would like. This is called The Petal Painting Insect. And it's kind of inspired by the imaginative creations of Hayao Miyazaki. He would create doors that can do things that doors can do, and bugs that can do things that bugs tend to do, and everything that can do everything that it usually doesn't do. So this is called Petal Painting Insect. There's a little bug that lives in the stem of every flower, who paints the things it thinks, feels, and sees on the petals before they bloom. So, if you ever need to know what's on the world's mind, just plant a flower, give it plenty of sustenance, and you will see. I've been kind of developing this niche genre called the essay poem, and so at certain points during these essay poems, it starts to feel like science class. I guarantee you it's going to end with a poem with feeling. So this is called Poems That Don't Rust. Some poems don't rust because they're organic. They grow. They aren't manufactured. Some poems hurt when they grow, like with growing pains. Growing pains are attributed to growing up into the mature adult life. There's a sheltered existence that some people become adults in, but some shelters rust. I prefer the forest, the storm. There's a phenomenon described as atmospheric ghost light, will-o'-the-wisp, ignis fatuus, or translated from the Latin, foolish fire. Present in bogs, marshes, and swamps, attributed in actuality to the combustion of gas from decomposed matter. The Latin term also connotes a deceptive goal or hope. Superstition. Superstitions don't last. New ones are formed, old ones are banished to obscurity. There's another phenomenon of the dead and of bogs, bog bodies, specific to peat bogs, whereby some organic matter decomposes remarkably slowly. The skin, hair, nails, and internal organs of a human body can be found there nearly intact, decades after a person has died there. This is due to cold, acidic, oxygen-poor conditions. If I die in a peat bog, I hope you find this poem in the contents of my barely decomposed stomach, like a message in a bottle. The words arranged as delicately as a ship in a bottle. I live on words. I consume them more than bread. The paper they're written on is full of fiber. They make up the flavor of my being. The words in my poems won't ignite and disappear forever, won't break down or rust. Parts of the next poem are used actually sometimes in the class at GVSU. And so I'm going to read this one. This one was written when I was 23, and it was a very difficult time for my mental state. And so I was trying to transition mental health meds, and I had been on one that had left me very depressed, very, very depressed, essentially. And so, so I was transitioning, coming out of that, there's starting to be like some awareness of kind of some articulation too, because depression can, I don't know about anyone else, but it really affects me in a way that I find it difficult, even just to say the words, you know? And that's why poetry meeting is so cathartic. It's so meaningful that we do this and we continue to do this, you know, because it does works that. So this is called One Complete Thought. The enforcer has got to die. He is destroying all my artwork. He burns the paintings until the whole studio is up in flames. The enforcer puts a sieve in front of my thoughts, and when they come out, they are an abstract mess, not whole and beautiful like they used to be. He tells me how to handwrite. He tells me how to sneeze, how to breathe, and always when it's wrong, but also when it's right, by his definition of what right is. Of course, only the things that I've done without him are the things that he approves of. The beautiful, it seems, is always beautiful. The paradoxical nature that defines him is made up of all of my rules and other people's rules, but mostly my rules. Made from fears of my inability to perform at the same level as or supersede my past artworks. He is my rules. I know him. I know his abstract nature, his way of clinging to things until he destroys them. I feel him as angry substance in my brain. He looks back and I don't. Grammar, he shouts, grammar. It is difficult to tell sometimes what is him and what is a good idea. He sticks them in my head. He is me, but I am not him. I would like to be rid of him. His chop suey thought processes is impossible to put a finger on nature. This is called In Your Own Words. Poetry has all the implications of fine print and is as seldom read. It's legally binding to the universe, and poets are the practitioners of its laws. It's as important and unobserved as DNA. Why poets find themselves among the most unread and quoted people who can go unnoticed on their day, but whose resonances echo loud enough to turn entire languages on their heads. Can we switch to the last? This is a piece done by Red Roberts. Previous piece was done by Carrie Hazeman, and the piece before that was done by Karma Loftus. That's Carmel's, that's Carrie's. There you go. And yeah, a lot of these artworks, this one's up on display still at Elf Cider Tap House, next to the Cheese Lady here in Michigan Fuller. And you can buy it if you want to. A lot of these were actually all but one of these were commissioned, were done for me, except for one that was commissioned. All based on poems that I've done. So this one was based on a poem. This is the second poem that references the sound of, but is referencing the sound of something that is silent in the poem. This is the sound of light. We had the sound of conductors. So here we go. This is a haiku. What is the sound of darkness, hushing sunlight, dawn, breaking darkness? Sympathy for artists. Much of my time is spent recuperating from mental overwork, doing what most appreciate to some degree, once they see it, are largely unaware of and aren't asking me to do. Scouring the globe for the very best parts of things, synthesizing them into formula so purely stimulating, ricocheting from one pleasure center to another, lighting up your inner switchboard in just such a way that in the same breath you use to call me lazy, you'll breathe my word a guilty pleasure. Thank you. All right. I think this is going to be the last one. This is called On the Subject of Angels. Therapy, where everything that would keep you from living brings you back to life. Zombies return your brains, vampires your blood. Demons detach themselves from your soul. Ghosts vacate your spirit. And angel armor finally reveals itself as forever being and having been bright in the bones of your friends, past loves, family, foes, and yourself. Thank you all for coming and listening to me.